a lot of celebrating to do after Monday night's win, but she said that even after that massive win over Tennessee, she still has her team ready to play for tonight, and they have their game plan ready. She also emphasized that when teams like Bowling Green come into Bloomington to play, they have an extra added tenacity and focus, so her team needs to be ready to go regardless. Back up to you guys.
Well, thank you, Kara. As we start off, Indiana wins the tip, so they'll get possession as Garzone shoots it for three, a little bit too strong, so a first miss for Indiana.
And certainly, Kevin, as Kara said, Indiana, you try to move on, but you have one of your biggest road wins in program history, and 79-67 win over Tennessee. It was the first top 15 road win of the Terry Morin era. And there's a lot of hype right now around this Hoosier team here in Bloomington and nationally.
Iowa Hampton carrying the ball for the Falcons. One of their strongest guards. The fans wanted a travel call, but the ball gets loose anyway as Indiana is able to recover. They send it down low to Holmes. The foul is called. So the first whistle is blown here in this game. Unlike the Tennessee game, Indiana's going to have a major size advantage. You have a 6'3" Mackenzie Holmes, and the starting forward for the Falcons, Allison Day, the Loyola transfer, only 6'1". That's certainly something Indiana can take advantage of and very much did in its first two mid-major wins last week. That one just rolls in and out. But to your point, Griffin, that is one of the strengths. Mackenzie Holmes, obviously one of the best players for Indiana and one of the best players overall in the Big Ten. There's a similar shot there, but Indiana's able to get the offensive rebound. Garzone gives it over to Scalia. Back to Garzone, decides to shoot it at the top of the key, a little bit too strong. Rebound Bowling Green. Indiana, such a different look from behind the arc. They're not afraid to shoot the three this year. The last 2 years has been their bugaboo. They only made 4.5 threes per game last year. That was just 12th in the Big Ten. Hampton, a little floater there for the first point of the game. Bowling Green up 2-0. And she comes in red hot, Kevin. 24 points in Bowling Green's last win when they scored over 100 on Wright State. Scalia putting a couple moves at the top, hits it down low to Moore. McNeil up with the left hand and good for two. That's exceptional vision. Back out on the right side, drive. That one barely falls, but it does not get through. Chloe Moore McNeil running down the lane, down to Mackenzie Holmes and up again for two. Beautiful pass there. So here's Trey, passes it out to Sharps. Back down low. That'll be Day. Back to Tate. Tate trying to get the call, and she does. And 12 years for Bowling Green. A lot of injuries last year, considering they had 75 games total where they had to play with at least some sort of injury deficit. As they hit it down low for Berger, and Berger with the left hand. 55 player games with injuries, and we'll see a couple of their top players come off the bench in part due to injuries. Somebody was able to get a hand on it, so now Berger running down to Mackenzie Holmes, and Holmes once again. Second one on the way. A little bit too strong, but Sydney Parrish with the offensive rebound goes up. In their win against Tennessee on Monday, comes right off the bench, offensive board and score. You got to finish that if you're Tate. She was right there. He hits Scalia down low, goes for the layup, and another. McNeil, as we were mentioning, in the Tennessee win, had one of her best performances, but that one gets stolen away from Holmes. Good double team. Holmes wasn't ready for it. There's Fleming. Almost decides to take the shot, but decides to pass it out to Tate. Tate working down low a lot so far in this game. Passes it out. It's moving very quickly, and in part they have so many offensive weapons on the floor. There's Hampton, a little bit too strong. Garzone with the rebound. Garzone. Back to Geary. Geary for three. It's good. Velasquez. A little bit too strong. Goes in and out. Parrish controlling the ball for the Hoosiers. Hits Geary down low. Geary getting double teamed. Back to Scalia. Scalia for three. It's good. Parrish down to Garzone. Garzone with the right hand. A little bit of a floater, but rebound. Mackenzie Holmes. Holmes goes up with the left hand. Another second chance. Block shots. Shots clanking off the iron. Indiana's taking advantage, and I think it's thrown off the Falcons. Hampton with the and one.
Defense by Indiana, one of the top defensive teams in the country last year, and they look like it again this year.
So the Falcons will start off with the ball. So far, Griffin, we've been talking about just how fast this game has gone. Tate working down low. There's a good quality shot. That one falls in for.
So far this year, did hit a big three against Tennessee. She took a bunch of threes. We were watching a shoot around, got a chance today. It's not like she's not practicing those three-pointers, and obviously that's not the mainstay of her game, but I think it's something Indiana's focused on this year, speaking of threes.
Garzone banks it in for a three.
Yeah, it's past midnight in Israel, but the bank's still open for the Israeli.
Bowling Green and Fleming over to Sharps. Down low to Zekin. Back out to Fleming. A lot of movement so far for Bowling Green. Step back three, swished it, and
True freshman, a big reason that the Falcons won the regular season MAC title.
So they inbound it to Berger. Berger working down low. Goes with the layup, and there's...
I think no doubt about it, they'll be a top 10 team. Coaches poll was released on Tuesday after the Tennessee game, and they were 9th in the country. That's what, I mean, one of the best wins against anyone so far in the nation, winning at Tennessee.
It was on the line, so that was a 2.
There's some range, though, from Berger. And again, at shoot-around, she was practicing and hitting a lot of threes. She's trying to expand that.
Since that one from around the free throw line. Indiana leads 36-17. 5:37 left on the clock. Scalia for three, and that one's good. Velasco taking things down the court. Working from the corner. Corner jumper. That one doesn't fall through. Parrish with the rebound. Shoots it down to Parrish. Parrish is able to get a hand on it. Excuse me, Peterson. Berger from mid-range. Floater. That one's good. It's down low. Tate decides to take the three now.
Can you trademark a basketball move, Kevin? I know Ohio State has trademarked these, so I don't see why you can't trademark anything these days.
See, with that point, I think you could, maybe. Across the top of the key. Hits it over left side, Tate. Parrish was able to get a hand on it, then Peterson is able to get it. Chloe Moore McNeil with the layup. That one's good for two.
Herself right now, defensively.
And one thing that we've been talking to every coach about on the Indiana side is Parrish shoots that one from the corner. That one's good.
Weapons on this Indiana team right now. Inside, outside, and they are overwhelming one of the best teams in the MAC in this first half.
A 9-0 run here in the past minute and a half for the Hoosiers, as they're about to break 50 points in the first two quarters.
That's Lily Meister, the freshman forward, was beat there. That's going even further down the depth chart for Indiana at that forward position.
Berger hits Peterson in the corner. Peterson decides to shoot from mid-range. That one falls. Start here in the third quarter. That's a three attempted by Brett. Doesn't get that one to fall through, so now Berger will lead things up.
The Falcons were going to have to shoot really well from three if they were to compete in this game. They've done the opposite, 1 of 11 from beyond the arc.
McKenzie.
Indiana, good ball movement.
Garzone at the top of the key, too strong. Gets the rebound by Holmes. Berger looking for somebody to pass it out to. She hits it to Garzone. That one falls through. Holmes working low in the post, turns around. That one doesn't get through, but he gets her own rebound, and that one falls. Tate working down to Zekin. Zekin with the up and under. Doesn't get that one to go through. But then Tate with the rebound. Hampton in the corner. Drives baseline with the right hand. Pretty layup.
You want ball movement to open up space on the floor. That's maybe the most open shot Bowling Green's gotten all day. Indiana closing the gaps.
Moore McNeil finds. Berger hands it off to Scalia. Scalia wide open. That one hit the front of the rim.
She had 13 points to lead the way in the first half for Indiana.
So that one's back out to Brett. Brett with the three.
Compete for a MAC title. Put up 26 points in their opening win against St. Bonaventure.
Berger from the free throw line. That one's a little bit too strong. They send it down to Brett. Brett with the layup. That one falls through.
One of the MAC favorites in a team that put up 100-plus points last game, but it might be a little bit too little too late at this point in the game.
5 straight points for Alyssa Brett. That brings up her total to 11. They hit Grace Berger down in the baseline. And
Terry Morin's expression after Scalia took that shot.
There's an offensive rebound by Z.
Play really well for Bowling Green.
That one doesn't get through. Parrish taking things down the court now. Hits it over to Berger. Back to Parrish. Parrish with the turnaround jumper. That one falls through.
Below freezing for 5 days straight. It's a person from Finland. She's probably walking around in shorts and a t-shirt basically. It's like summer for Finland here.
Berger now out to Parrish. Peterson. Sandvik. Now to Berger. Indiana trying to set something up here. Berger drives on the right lane, gets that one up for 2. So now the Falcons trying to work something in the post. A lot of contact there. But that one up.
12 points. She's quietly had a nice night for the Falcons. Day has 4 as well now.
That was in and out for the Hoosiers. Now they hit it down low. That one is good.
Been a better second half offensively for Bowling Green. They just looked a lot more comfortable and calmed down. Good energy from their bench as well.
They look a lot more settled, a lot more confident in the shots that they're taking.
There's no doubt, as we talk about, there's a lot of talent on this Bowling Green team. Offensively, they're deep, but Indiana just completely rattled them in the first quarter, as did likely this environment.
Parrish drives through, so 2 more points to her name. That brings her total to 11.
And it's a rally. They play in the Stroh Center. It holds 4,300 fans. There's likely over 4,300 fans just inside Assembly Hall today. Fuller crowd on average for Indiana for a cold Thursday night.
You know, in the MAC so far in recent years, both for the men and the women, has been kind of one of the funnest teams, the funnest conferences, one of the best mid-major conferences. So there's a steal by Peterson. Peterson gets up the layup, and what a play.
That has had a breakout game today for Indiana. It's Caitlin Peterson. A couple steals for Indiana. She's been so astute defensively, hit a couple shots. She is asking for more playing time. When we talked with Coach Freilich, I mean, she talked about, you speak of players that develop offensively, defensive-focused player first few years. She's become an offensive superstar really now for the Falcons. And the big reason, too, is her conditioning. She's incredibly conditioning, said Coach Freilich.
Kind of a different point of view on basketball.
And they have to be well conditioned down there to run from all the kangaroos.
Exactly. And, you know, it's a different style of basketball pretty much anywhere you go overseas, but it's also fun just to see basketball. But, I mean, in this game, we have Garzon from Israel. We have Brett, who we just mentioned. That we have Saric on Indiana from Serbia. So a number of players from the international scenes in this game.
A lot of world travelers. And Brett said her favorite player, too, Patty Mills, one of the great Australian basketball players with the Spurs.
Patty Mills. Hempfling decides to take a 3. That one.
He hasn't played more minutes for the Falcons. Hasn't started any of the games so far this season. Still only 8 minutes today.
She was a team captain last season, so it's...
There's a lot of depth, I mean, talked about, but she would seem like a player that should be getting more time for the Falcons and could have helped them scoring-wise today.
Lauren McNeil throws up a 3, and that one's perfect.
Family members, a couple of her sisters I know were at the game. Her high school back in Greenfield was having a watch party for the game. Tennessee had 2 players on her high school team. Lauren McNeil for the Greenfield Yellow Jackets.
Shout out to the Yellow Jackets. Berger inbounds it to Garzon. Garzon hits it down low to Holmes. Holmes with the left hand.
Been healed across the way. Poised players, and everyone can score.
Garzon tries to take a 3. That one doesn't fall through, but Parrish is able to get the rebound. Garzon down low to Holmes. Holmes with the left hand. Mackenzie Holmes. As Peterson is able to get the steal.
That's the 3rd time a backcourt steal by Caitlin Peterson.
Garzon with the layup and the and one. And she mentioned that the way they were able to find Garzon is they had a an athletic trainer in the Fort Wayne area, kind of, just doing some scouting, working out a few players, and Garzone was coming with IQ on the basketball court, and so she was able to relay that message over to Terry Morin and her staff, and then ever since then, Coach Morin said that they watched film on Garzone, said that they were extremely surprised, but, they're about to go into Big Ten play.
Yeah, you see that Illinois game, December 4th is when they open up Big Ten players. Sunday in Assembly Hall, it's not that far away. It snuck up on us pretty quickly as Garzone to see in North Carolina games. But outside of that, as you said, Kevin, they're probably not going to face a top 25 team until the new year when they play Nebraska.
This game against a Big Ten opponent will be against Illinois on December 4th in Bloomington, so that will be the first matchup against the Big Ten team.
And obviously have Vegas next week with Memphis and Auburn, so two high-quality teams. The Hoosiers will be favored in both.
Lily Meister gets the...
One more on Sunday against Quinnipiac, and then two more in December. Have to feel really happy with how they've built this back half of their bench. Be ready come Big Ten play, regardless of injuries or players wearing down. And IU certainly wore down at the end of the Big Ten season last year. Lost its last 3 games of the regular season. That's something I think Terry Morin certainly wants to avoid happening this year.
Meister once again with the last straight basket for the freshman.
Well, she's already had some good moments. That's 15 points on the season for the freshman forward.
Another 3.
4 of those coming here in the second half. Bowling Green's going to have to be better from beyond the arc. That's where they made their bread and butter last year if they want to win the MAC this year.
And Hempfling, her only 6 points, have come from behind the arc with 2 threes. And once again, Lily Meister.
Now she broke Jasmine Fern right out of her shoes. Her sneaker popped off.
No starters on the floor for Indiana. Here with the final minute and a half of their 9 points for her, all come by way of 3-pointers. Peterson with the floater. Kevin Vera, Griffin Epstein, Kara Adams on the call for you today. Hoosiers about to break 100 points.
I don't know if they're going to make it, Kevin. It's going to be close.
Hempfling with the right hand finds the